Hey, Anthony,
Yeah.
do you think this big, beautiful bill is going to pass?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
Well, the procedural vote that happened in the Senate yesterday is a pretty good indication of what the final voting lines are going to be. And despite the theatrics of a few Republican senators like Collins and Murkowski, who just like to pretend like they're going to vote against their party, I don't think that there's any real opposition from this in the Republican Senate. They've all made their bed a long time ago and voted consistently along party lines for the last several administrations. I don't think that's going to change now.
What are the implications if it does get passed?
Well, like any budget bill, it's pretty complex and there's a lot of moving parts to it. It's my understanding there's basically two big parts that are going to be affecting, the average American. One is that the bill is continuing and making permanent the 2017 era Trump tax cuts, and the other is cuts to Medicaid. So basically what it boils down to is that low-income households, so those making less than $30,000 a year, are going to be receiving some token benefits that I think the Trump administration is hoping will distract them from the major downsides. Those benefits are a few $100s a year in tax savings in the form of a minor increase to the standard deduction, as well as a removal of taxation on some things like tips and certain overtime pay, which I suspect will be taken away at a later date in future budget bills if Republicans are still in power at the time. So, overall savings of a couple $100s a year. On the downside, though, is huge cuts to Medicaid, which the Congressional Budget Office estimates can have an impact of anywhere from $4,000 to $20,000 a year in lost benefits to those same low-income households. And when you combine that with other things that have been taken away by the Trump administration through executive orders and other measures, for example, cuts to the Department of Education and regulatory bodies, are going to have these huge impacts on low-income households that far outweigh any benefit that those households are going to see. On the contrast, when you look at high-income households, and especially those in the top 5 and 1% of the population, what we see instead is tremendous tax cuts that will be saving them tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, if not millions, in the very high range, with very little comparative downside. So what this budget bill is just a way to shift wealth from an already impoverished population to the ultra wealthy, which is, standard MO for the Republicans at this point.